What's going on YouTube? Alan again with dustyhikers.com. The Swiss Army knife, the little Swiss Army knife that you buy, which I bought in 1982 in Switzerland when I was backpacking around as a college student, that's the quintessential souvenir when you go to Europe and when you go to Switzerland particularly. But can you bring it on a hike? And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. My family is planning to go to Italy this summer. Fortunately, we all have Italian passports, so even if there's a travel ban, we can still get into the country. And while we're there, we're planning on going hiking. Now, I lived in Italy for a really long time, like 15 years, and I would carry knives all the time in my pocket, but was I actually breaking the law? Like everything in Europe, each country has its own, let's say, flair for how it interprets and does things, right? So even though it's the European Union, each country still has all of its own laws around carrying weapons. So basically, if you have a folding blade that has a single cutting edge on it that is less than 4 inches, you're probably okay no matter where you go in Europe. Each country is different. Some of them will allow you to carry knives that are a little bit more like weapons, but for the most part, a folding blade that has a single cutting edge that's less than 4 inches, you're going to be fine. So I created a blog post about this with a very useful table that has a breakdown for each country in Europe. So if you go to dustyhikers.com, you can search that, or another way to do that would be to just go to Google and search, "Can I carry a knife while hiking in Europe? Dusty Hikers," and then you can find this table. And I actually linked to the legislation in those countries which governs weapons, and in this case, knives. So you can go there. Some of these are in English, but other ones, if you just click on it and then your browser can translate it into English, and that's what I did, and I just went and looked at all this information. So for Italy specifically, Italy has 2 categories of weapons. They have illegal weapons and banned weapons. So illegal weapons in this case would be things like a butterfly knife. This is my son's butterfly knife here in Texas. This is perfectly legal. He actually, we have tape on this so he doesn't cut himself, but he'll sit and do this in class to just kind of relax during, well, he's not in class, he's actually doing virtual class. Obviously I wouldn't let him take this to school. These sorts of knives, this is a fixed blade, right? It's got its own sheath. This would be, in certain European countries, it might be difficult to carry this around and not get in trouble if the cops find you with this. So in Italy, for example, and I talk about this in the blog, there's a case, it was a court case of a young woman who was carrying a knife in her purse, and she was stopped by the police, and they found her knife, and so she was charged with possessing a weapon. Later, the judge ruled that she should not have been charged, and so she was cleared of all charges because she had a justifiable reason. And this is common among many of the European countries. If you have a justifiable reason for carrying that knife, then it might be okay. Again, to err on the side of caution, I suggest a 4-inch blade that has a single cutting edge and that's foldable. That is, that it's not able to be locked in place. Here's a knife that I found at the beach 2 weeks ago. So this is a locking blade, right? Once you open it, you can't close it without doing some kind of thing here. There's another case in Italy, and you can go read this on my blog post, and if you read Italian, you can actually go and read the newspaper articles that talked about this. But there was another case of a fisherman with an 8-centimeter fixed blade, right? Shorter than this. 8 centimeters must be, it's probably like 3 inches or something. So a blade like this, fixed blade, he's a fisherman, and he had this blade to fix his rod and reel and, fix his rigging and all of that. And the cops charged him with the possession of a weapon, and the charges were not lifted. So he actually was charged for carrying a weapon. All right, so there's obviously a big cultural aspect to this. I mean, in America, if you walk around on a hiking trail with a knife like this, or even bigger, like a big Bowie knife, I mean, people might look at you a little bit strange, but no one's going to think that you're breaking the law. Not the case in Europe. Again, every country's different. In Bulgaria, for example, they have very few laws around weapons, and especially knives, but they have very strict laws around the use of those weapons for personal defense. So even if it is personal defense, if you wind up using a weapon, they're going to come down on you hard. Austria also has less stringent laws for knives. Again, it's kind of a cultural thing, but certainly you can't carry butterfly knives or other types of weapons that are designed for self-defense or for fighting. And that, again, I think is kind of your general rule of thumb. You wouldn't want to bring a butterfly knife backpacking or hiking in Europe, obviously, because it's a weapon. I mean, in many states in the US, it's illegal. All right, so anyway, that is my quick video on whether or not you can carry a knife while hiking in Europe. The answer is yes, but I suggest, again, a 4 inches or less single cutting blade that's a foldable knife, just like a Swiss Army knife, that doesn't lock in place. And then you should be fine pretty much everywhere you go in Europe. Also, I'd say the one last thing is that, if you're going to go hunting, that is a justifiable reason. But you can't carry that knife around, the center of Paris and say, I'm going hunting next week, right? You need to be on your way to the place that you're going to go hunting and you're about to go hunting, not that you're on a hunting trip and you just happen to be visiting the Eiffel Tower. All right, that's it. If you found this video useful, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing. We are uploading content about our experiences in hiking and getting back into backpacking, and my wife and I are going to go on adventures, and we've had many this last year. All right, thank you very much. Bye.